Well, something went wrong at the beginning of the show, and I'm going to fix it right now. Here we go. There you go. Now it's right. Good morning, guys. It's Monday. Fun weekend. Exhausting weekend. And I'm still out here in the dining room instead of in my studio because I actually need assistance because my foot's still injured. And I don't want to try carrying three things. My two monitors and the cooling station for one of the computer. So Keith was supposed to help me last week, but he wasn't able to because it was his birthday. It's his fucking birthday. So what are you going to do? He's got to go out of town. He had to go celebrate. He apologized when I said, don't worry about it, man. No thing. I'll just have to wait till today. So, because I know he's supposed to be back, right, John?
Yeah, he was just gone for the weekend.
Yeah.
To Vegas.
Damn, John, you sound sexy. Oh, wait. That was Anima answering for you.
Jesus Christ. But look at John's name, like under his name. Have you seen that?
Allison's boyfriend?
Yeah.
I don't know who Allison is. Is Allison real?
You're such an asshole.
Yes.
Can't you just be happy for your friend once in a while?
I'm always happy for my friends.
You obviously weren't paying
I
attention
still have
to
to fuck with
Facebook.
them. I don't. And you know what? I get zero updates from you, even though you are one of my closest friends. I don't get
Are you
any
following
updates
him
from
on
you.
That's
Facebook?
weird.
I follow
When
all
you
my
go-
friends.
Okay.
I don't get
Oh,
things from a lot of people. Like Mike Beatty, I hardly ever get updates from him.
So
I only
that's
get
why
half
you're not
updates from
following
you.
me.
Well, I can't understand what you're saying on Facebook. And by the way, thank you, Tim. The B-52 sticker. A lot of people don't realize the peace sign on my helmet it's the same one I had on my actual helmet. I had an actual it was meant to look like a B-52. And I had to draw it on my headband on my Kevlar. And I had the peace symbol and it said peace by superior firepower. And everybody in my squad had written I love my fearless squad leader on the backs of their helmets. Because I would take anybody on from my squad. I would absolutely protect anybody in my squad.
Look at that. Oh,
See, now Tim's shitting on you, John.
Yeah.
Lady V
Yeah, I
too.
see it.
You guys
Well,
are not nice.
it's the hazing, man. You have to be hazed.
Yep.
Are you saying behave?
No, I say beehive, asshole.
Oh, beehive. It has nothing to do with girlfriends. What the fuck is wrong with you?
What would you know about
Oh,
girlfriends?
we just got demonetized.
Well, we'll
So
ask you
Martin
5 minutes.
discovered something interesting today. And I suspect it's because he lives south of the border. That he is unable to post. Is it post messages or post on
DMs?
Twitter? Okay, direct messages. So unable to send direct messages that have the word military in it. Weird.
Yeah.
So,
I needed to open the webpage from LAPD for tomorrow's show, and I couldn't.
Get a VPN. You need to get a VPN that says you're in the United States. I'm telling you. They're free VPNs.
Yeah, for
Oh, yeah.
your continent, not for mine. I tried to get a free one and nope.
Windscribe
Not
Windscribe is a pay one, but if you don't opt for the pay one, you still get 10 gigs a month free. Another one that does that is Hide Me VPN. Hide.me VPN. Again, don't opt for the pay one. You still get 10 free gigabytes a month. So
I would pay if I could. I had ExpressVPN when I was in Croatia, so I could watch German and Austrian TV online. But it's $100 a year, so I'm like, nah, not doing that anymore.
Interesting.
It's good though.
Now,
It's a really good VPN.
Do you want to know something really interesting?
Yeah.
This information is real. I'll tell you the source after the show, but the moment you activate a VPN, you are in the FBI list.
What?
I was in the
I'm
FBI
already in
list
it.
long before then.
It's like my daughter was like, I don't want to do the DNA thing. I'm afraid. I said, look, honey, I'm not going to worry about that because I served in the military after 1990. That means they already have my DNA. Anybody who served after 1990 on, the U.S. military has your DNA, which goes to the database for the Department of Defense as well as the DOJ.
So your government could do an army of just Gerry's clones.
Oh my God.
No, what they
Why would you
use
say
that for
something like that?
is you end up being in the system. So if a crime happens, if it doesn't show up in CODIS, they just go through the files they got. Now, there's two ways of finding people. If they served in the military, your DNA will show up after 1990, or they can go to familial DNA and narrow down, because that's how we've caught a few people since 2000, like the Golden Gate Killer. He was caught because of one of his children.
I like my theory. They're gonna do like in Oblivion, an
That
army
it
of
would be
Gerrys.
a bunch of like conscientious objectors. It would not work. I mean, yeah, we could kill, but we'd only kill if we felt like it. And that's not really how being a conscious objector works. It's just I won't be ordered to kill somebody. Might need to develop a Red Dawn type. Yeah, there you go. And by the way, good morning to you, Lady V. It's good to see you. Stephen's here, deleted scenes. Of course, I already said hi to Tim. Anybody else here?
Andy
Oh,
Monroe.
Andy is here. What is up, Andy? Good morning. So we're going to be talking about a film, and Anima told me that some people were pissing and moaning about this movie today, and I'm like, why would you piss and moan about John Milius?
Indeed.
This is the man that brought us Conan the Barbarian. He wrote the best parts of Apocalypse Now.
He's a genius.
He is a genius. John Milius is part of that group, the Francis Ford Coppola, Martin Scorsese, Brian De Palma, and George Lucas group, and Spielberg.
By the way,
he was the only conservative, by the way, in that group.
Watching this movie that I watched for the first time in my life yesterday,
Me too.
I couldn't notice the beginnings of ideas and techniques using Conan.
Oh yeah, there's in fact one of the fight scenes is clearly an inspiration for what he would do later in Conan for the final battle.
And the theme of Sean Connery's character, that thing evolved to be the Klingon music. Yeah.
I didn't know
Listen it again.
Oh, hold on. I gotta, because I forget who composed the music for the film. I need to go look. Going over to IMDb right now. Scroll down to music. Because, yeah, it's Jerry Goldsmith. That's why. Jerry Goldsmith, I'm just going to tell you, Jerry Goldsmith steals from himself. His son steals from his dad.
Like Hans Zimmer.
Jerry Goldsmith, absolutely. And he's one of those guys that went Wagnerian. Because I showed that to Anima the other day.
That's the way to go.
But because a lot of the big music, especially Arnold Schwarzenegger films, were very Wagnerian. And the guy who started that was not Jerry Goldsmith, but Basil Podadoris. And who's right here from Missouri. He's up there just north of you is where he's from, Kansas City. Because John lives in Sedalia, which is a nice little place. I like that place. Yeah. If you don't want to live in KC, live in Sedalia. That way, you're just a hop, skip, and a jump from KC. Go enjoy that delicious KC barbecue. And boy, I have done that. Every time I go to Kansas City, I always make sure to go to one of the barbecue places and try their barbecue.
You got a wide selection to choose from.
wrote Red Dawn, and Red Dawn's another favorite of mine. And we're going to be doing that on this show. Absolutely, because I'm going to do every film by John Milius.
Isn't it on the list anyway?
So Anima said there are a few people pissing and moaning about this movie today. And then don't come watch it. I mean, I want you to, because you're going to discover you were wrong about this film. Because they think it's just a romantic film. No, this is, as the line says in Conan, this is a story of high adventure. It is absolutely a fictionalized tale of a true story, because it wasn't just a woman, it was her and her husband, the ambassador. He hadn't died. In the movie, he had passed away. And then they had some sort of American representative there with her having her breakfast, and he dies defending her, which was kind of a good scene, but that's not what happened. And it was more political than it was anything. They turned it into something far more exciting than really what it was. But here is the truth, that they were getting zero help from the leader. And Teddy Roosevelt preached, and they use it 3 times in the film. Talk softly, but carry a big stick. And big stick, talk softly means diplomacy. Big stick means be prepared to use your military to enforce your diplomacy. Back it up. Always have a good military to back you up. So what does he do? He sends the Marines. The second time in the history of the United States, we sent Marines into the Middle East to deal with problems.
Yeah, the first time was the Barbary Coast.
Barbary Coast with Tripoli.
Yep.
Because I was just like, why did you do that?
Oh, that is absolutely accidental.
Okay, would you put me back? So basically, with the Barbary Coast, you had the pirates. These are Muslim. They were Muslim extremists. They believed that they had the right religiously to take whatever they wanted that came into their waters. And the British, of course, gave them a nods up and said, do it, because they were still poking at the bear, because we had won our liberty from them, but we hadn't earned their respect yet. And a little twist of irony where we tried to invade Canada would lead to the War of 1812. And despite that being a fuck up on our part, even though there's arguments that say we probably should have done that, and it would have been better for Canada if we had. But in the long run, I love Canada, and I'm glad that we didn't, even though they're fucked up right now. They're suffering the same indignity that is going on with the UK. But because we had done that, we ended up going to war with Britain again. And they invaded the United States, burned the White House, did all that fun shit. And a little man named Colonel Jackson, Andrew Jackson, who was more infamous later in life once he became president. He was not a very good person, but he was Batman during the War of 1812, and he led the army, and we drove England out of the country. And there's a nice little song about it too. And but the thing is we drove him out, and we had to send our troops, Marines, a small contingent of Marines, over to Tripoli to stop the pirates, which is all leading up to that. Thomas Jefferson was president, and there was immediately upon the success of the mission a betrayal of the Marines and the man who planned the mission. And we were supposed to finish the job just like we did with the first Gulf War, and we didn't finish it, and it led to the second Gulf War. If we'd just done the job correctly the first time and removed Saddam Hussein, we'd have never had a problem, and we could have just dealt with the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. A lot of military mistakes that we've made. But in this film, if it weren't for him doing that, Teddy Roosevelt may very well have lost his re-election as president, because A lot of people don't know this, that he wasn't elected into office when he became president. He was vice president, and the president was assassinated. And he became president. He finished the term. And because he sent Marines and kicked the shit out of them and got them to release the hostages, he got reelected. But when he made his bid for the next one, which would have been his official second term, but it was his third term, he lost. And and during that term also, I want to point out, this is where he broke up Mobil Oil, because he felt that we are a country that is about independent companies, people want to be entrepreneurs. And if one company monopolizes that industry, mom and pop operations have no chance of surviving. So he'd break them up. But thanks to Bill Clinton and George Bush, they all got put back together again. So we have those things going on today. But we're seeing failures right now today. Giving just a little history lesson of our economy. Walmart is in bad shape. Walmart is in bad shape. That's why you're seeing some of the things and decisions they're making. Part of the problem is they were part of the financial force behind George Soros and what he's been doing with these DAs across the country, prosecuting attorneys and DAs, district attorneys. And they're failing across the country. And Walmart's having to close up shop. Their prices are changing, if you haven't noticed. Where they get all their food used to be Sam Walton was proud of the fact that it was American, but hasn't been that way since he's died. They've eventually flipped it to where we're getting a lot of food from South Central America, China, because it's cheaper and it's all about profit with them. They're so different than their father. The father, if you were employed by Walmart when he was alive, you got a percentage of the company. That was something he set up. And the minute he died, went away. And this is another example of how benign leadership of people who are kings. You know what I'm talking about. It's usually great when it's the first one, but after that, it's always fucked up because greed comes into play. Because kids are shitty. If you're a king and you raise your kids, odds are you didn't raise them as well as you thought you did. What about Loki? I thought I saw Loki. Did he say something? Is Loki here?
Yeah.
What did he say?
That.
Yes, war. Yeah, war is just diplomacy with guns. You damn Skippy. Damn Skippy. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. And of course, John Ostains is here.
And he's waiting for me to drop an F-bomb. I know that, Ostains.
Yeah. Oh, and I already made a George Soros reference because if you're going to talk about our economy, you have to talk about it and what's going on in our country. He was not allowed to return to his home country, and he's not allowed to return to France or England for a reason, because he tried to destabilize their money, their economy. He came here. He's been doing it since he's been here. And I hate saying this because I'm not a big fan of the Republicans either, but the Democrats love him. Democrats love him because he's a socialist. Doing very well, my friend. All right, we're 20 minutes in. Let's get the film strip going. Anima, did you read up on the actual event?
I didn't have time. I'm sorry.
That's all right. The fun thing is you really enjoyed the film.
I did, even though I was so tired after my first market weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I didn't have time, because I slept for like 11 hours.
I got 5 hours. I always get 5 hours.
Yeah, I needed
Yesterday, I actually got close to 7. In the Army, I survived on 4 hours of sleep, except for the weekends. Then I would sleep.
I got about 7.
That's good to hear, Loki. Let's see. I'm looking at Martin's list. So the film, like I said, it's a very fictionalized True story. And normally what they do with these films is they dramatize the personal relationships and what was said and how it was said. But actually pretty much everything in here beat for beat is historically how it happened. It's just we do have a tip jar. You can do a one-time thing through our I think you can, can't you? Or do you have to become a Patreon? I can't remember.
I don't know that.
But you can become a Patreon and then
like to get
cancel it. There's one way to do it. We used to have that tip thing through Streamlabs, and it just nobody used it. It was up for over a year. Nobody ever used it, not once. And it was something that Fat Steven talked me into doing. And I was just like, I don't know. I don't see the purpose to it. Now, this is the scene I told you. In real life, the ambassador was still alive. In this, they say he's dead. And you get this exciting, these horses coming in. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Oh, they're up to no good. And it's an exciting scene. And the kids are even excited by what's going on. So nobody's going to get the Patreon. Okay, I'll get the Patreon link.
Oh, sorry.
Somebody else talk, because I'm going to.
I wouldn't know how to get that thing.
Sorry, I was away from keyboard.
How dare you, Martin?
There you go. Here's our Patreon. If you do the Patreon, you just pretend you're doing a tip every month. Tally it up. Helps us keep the lights on, because YouTube's hurting us right now. They're intentionally hurting us.
They are stealing.
They did something 2 months ago while I was in the hospital, changed some stuff to where all of a sudden we had a drastic drop. Still have the same number of members. Why? I don't know. So they just don't like me.
Well, they are stealing from you, which is fucked up.
I do not have PayPal. I protest PayPal. But if you have Zelle through your bank, which is available, you can send it to my personal email.
You have Venmo?
I do have Venmo.
Yeah.
I have Cash App too.
You can tip through either of those too.
Here's my personal email. You
have some flattery here from Mustangs.
What did he say? By the way, the new website looks great. Keep it up. Thanks, man. That's what I did for years is besides doing all the marketing and advertising and artwork for our clients, I was a web designer. I started in 1995 because I saw the future, what was happening in 95. I'm like, oh, shit. And that's why I'm also a master user of Photoshop, as I started using Photoshop at the end of 94, early 95. Once again, I'm like, this is where things are heading. I can see this. At that point, I was going to Eastern Illinois University in Charleston, Illinois. It's a very good college. EIU, the Panthers. I played baseball for them. I'm one of those people who wants to give sites but not give out my info. No, I hear you on that. I'm already out there. So it's like I told Steven, because Steven's all about his anonymity. And I'm like, I'm not going to bother with that shit. If people, there's no doxing me. My information is easily found out there. I told a guy one time, he wanted to kick my ass. And I said, well, there's Hardee's right across the street from me. I'll meet you over in the parking lot. You want to do the driving? Come on over and we'll fight. I'm one of those people who, yeah, I have PayPal and use prepaid gift cards. Those are nice, actually. When I first started getting commissions from people, a lot of people weren't able to make payments online. They wanted to send checks. And I'm kind of iffy about that because I don't like postal service. And so people started paying me with gift cards. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Thank you. So there's one of the moments right there. Anima lost her shit.
I didn't lose my shit, but I'm so proud that I spotted this because you can see Turkey on that map. And we are in
Turkey didn't exist yet.
1904. Yeah, it was the Ottoman Empire back then. Turkey wasn't founded until 1923. And I'm proud of myself that I spotted that.
I will point out, though, that at least they got the flag right. When you see the United States flag, it's got 48 states on it.
That guy reminds me of Roger.
That is, of course, actor Brian Keith. Brian Keith is a tragic figure in Hollywood. He was a prolific actor, and his career didn't go the way it should have done, but he was a star in the 60s and early 70s. And he was in some great movies, but he was best known for being on television. And he was in 2 hit TV shows, first one being Family Affair, and the second one being Hardcastle and McCormick. He got cancer, and in the midst of fighting his cancer, his daughter committed suicide. That was 1991, I think it was. And he got too depressed. The cancer began getting worse, and he just decided to do the same thing as his daughter and put a gun to his head, ended it.
That's so tragic.
But he was a man's man in Hollywood, just a great actor. And his playing Teddy Roosevelt was, I believe, a perfect role for him because he looks like Teddy Roosevelt to begin with. And he embodies this role. Now, there are, again, like I said, a lot of historical mistakes made in this film. They're not mistakes. They were deliberate, but except for the globe. The changing of John Huston, by the way, right there in the middle, one of the greatest film directors of all time. The Maltese Falcon. What's the Sierra Madre?
Yeah.
God, he was just a great
Treasure
director.
Sierra Madre.
Yeah, Treasure Sierra Madre. But he's also a prolific actor himself. He was in Chinatown, this movie. He's a very good actor. And his children, all went on to be very creative people, including Angelica Houston. But a lot of people don't know that his son played the part of what's his name? Cox, the guy who turned Wolverine into the machine. What is it called? I forgot the name.
Oh.
Weapon X.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian Cox played him when he was older, but when they went back to tell how he became Weapon X,
Oh, this guy's
Houston's son played
the
the Cox character. Very great family. And very Irish. He had a place in Ireland because he was a first generation American. He was allowed to own property in Ireland because you can't do that. If you have to be from Ireland or be a first generation child of somebody from Ireland.
I did not.
Yes, in the 1977 cartoon. That's right. Which is funny because Anima thought that was Gandalf.
The nose.
He looks a lot like it.
Yeah.
Where this movie was shot?
I do believe it was shot around Morocco, wasn't it? Let me go look it up.
It should look
The
like it.
landscapes. The landscapes are gorgeous, man. If you like desert, like I happen to do.
I haven't been in Morocco, but I was working on Fuerteventura, which is an island directly off the
They
coast
shot
of
it
Morocco.
in Spain with the towns of Seville, Granada, Almeria, and Madrid, all doubling for Tangier, Fez, and the Washington scenes were filmed in and around Madrid.
Damn, Tim is keeping the pace.
Well, I should have thought about that because he was very fond of Spain, Milius, because he shot a lot in Spain for Conan.
True, yeah, we looked that up. I remember.
That's right. They did do The Return of the King. I forgot about that.
I did not know that.
Yeah. but it wasn't the same filmmaker. That was, it seems to me, wasn't that the same people who did the Last Unicorn? Was it the same studio? Check. I'm not sure.
It's me.
And she's, this is all really good. And Sean Connery's character delivers a line that he delivers again later, but in a different way, because he's very annoyed with her.
Yeah.
You're a deal a lot
You
of
are
trouble.
trouble. You, dear lady, are trouble. And then later, he playfully says it. When he rescues her from her own escape.
Yeah. But at this point in the movie, I was like, how is she still alive?
You, dear lady,
She's
are trouble.
snarky as fuck all the time, and he is just taking it because he likes.
Oh, he gives her a backhand when she laughs at him.
Yeah,
Because
right
he
at
fell
the
off the
beginning.
horse.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that was
Rankin and
embarrassing.
Bass.
Rankin and Bass.
did-
I was right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because Bakshi did the first film. And Rankin and Bass also did The Hobbit.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, I like this. This is where he says it to her. Your tongue is fast. And then he
She
gets
just
annoyed
keeps
with her.
talking back to
Well,
him. I'm like,
he says, you know,
dangerous.
he says something to her. She says something back about braggarts. And then he gets annoyed with her. Says, you lady.
I think he tolerates
Now that's
her.
Jeffrey Lewis. This guy is such a great fucking actor right here. He was never a star, but he was very well known, a great character actor. Clint Eastwood swore by him, used him in almost every film in the 70s and going into the 80s. Just a great actor, prolific. His daughter is an actor. I'm not going to say prolific. She does her job. She's good in some things. The only film I didn't, it's Juliette Lewis is his daughter. The only thing I didn't like her in was the remake of Cape Fear, because she was too old. What was horrifying was how young the daughter was. And she didn't look like she was the same age as the girl in the story. Yes, he played, that's right, the lawgiver in the Battle of the Planet of the Apes.
I forgot John Huston was the narrator for Black Cauldron.
Now, I will say this about Lewis, and this may be why he stopped working with Clint Eastwood. He became a member of Scientology, which is why Juliette Lewis is still a member of Scientology.
Look who's here. Our Muslim uncle.
Our Muslim uncle is here. Hell, assalamu alaikum. Yes, this is interesting because they wouldn't make a film this way today. You know, you can have a Spaniard play. Was he an Arab or an Egyptian? I can't remember. In the 13th Warrior,
Arab.
he was an Arab, and Sean Connery plays an Arab in this. But there would be the woke crowd would have problems with that, even though it's called acting. But I don't like when people put makeup on to darken their skin or put makeup on to make them look Asian. Because I
Even
think
Klingons?
it's insulting.
Even on Klingons?
No.
No, just
Klingons are a
cast
little
actors
different.
that are Chinese or dark or whatever.
What did you think of the movie, Our Muslim Uncle? What did you think? Because I think it's a beautiful film. I think it's
I only have
respectful.
one beef with it. One beef, and that's the day for night shooting. I hate that shit.
That was the period. This is the 70s.
I know.
This is
I know that.
1975. And we didn't have the technology yet to shoot the way they did. Really, to be honest with you, one of the first films to really conquer that was American Werewolf in London. Look it up. They figured out how to create moonlight. Look it up. It was brilliant what was done in that movie. Yes. Spain also doubled for the South during the Civil War in a few movies.
Yeah.
And you're looking
And I
like
guess-
going, there's no sagebrush in the South.
So I guess it looks good enough, and also probably it's quite cheap or was quite cheap to film there. Same goes for
Well, that's
Croatia.
part of the reason why, because
Yeah.
Spain also would give you perks, what we call today tax credits.
It was one of the main reasons to do the Winnetou stuff in Croatia, because it was cheap and it looks good. The landscape
Film
matches.
incentives.
Yeah, the entire Wheel of Pain scene in Conan was shot in Spain. And I can't help but cross over and mention Conan all the time because there are so many elements in this film that you would see later in Conan.
Yes. The filters, the music, the musical cues, the fight style. Man, when Razuli is going to fight with the German, the way he wields his sword, it's akin of how Conan did it.
Yep. Great action scenes in this. I mean, they're not over the top action scenes, but they're really good action scenes. One thing I did expect during the final fight between the German and what's his name? What is his name again? I forget his. He's also called the something, and
The Shaw.
It starts with an F, I think. And anyway, when he lines up to fight the German who is mounted on a horse, I thought for sure he's going to pull a Conan. I'd forgotten this movie. I hadn't seen it.
He was going to cut the legs.
Yeah, cut the legs out, and I'm like, because John Milius likes shit like that.
Oh, they did it in this movie. At some of the fight they did
that. And that's where they needed to do it.
By the way, we have a contributor from Rumble. Here is his comment. It's Wagner 195.
Oh yeah. Thank you very much, Wagner 195. I will make sure one of us, John and Martin, make sure to follow him back. And by the way, if you have channels that you two like over on Rumble, follow them, because there's a tendency over there for them to follow you back, and that's how we need to get those numbers going. Unless you want to pay for it, and I don't want to do that. There's a head hanging there.
Yeah,
it's so quick. It's like, oh shit, that's his fucking head. This movie was made for a PG release.
Because they don't show him hacking. I mean, they show him hack at them, but you don't see how he actually hacks the head off. You just see the children.
Yeah, they cut it, and you see there's a person standing in the way, and the head rolls just slightly on camera.
It was very well done, and I love the children's reaction, because especially the boy, he was between "oh my god" and "that's so fucking cool."
Yeah, well, both kids were. They were in awe with it. The mother was, of course, reacting
horrified.
Yes, horrifying. Just like the line in Hamlet, you get a little vomit in your mouth kind of moment. My gorge rises at it, as Hamlet would say, when he's looking at the jester's skull. I want to visit Conan's Tree of Woe in Spain. I wonder if it's still there. Some of these things are still there. They're damaged, like Star Wars stuff is still out there in Tunisia. The original set. Uncle Owen and Aunt. What's her name? Aunt Lar.
Owen, Lars, and Beru.
Beru, thank you, Aunt Beru.
Now,
by the way, I want to point out something here in a second too about the train. I'm going to pause it. Go ahead, Martin.
That is structures on the desert. I know the name Tatooine comes from the desert, but they film in Tatooine exactly?
What?
I can't remember. The name Tatooine, it comes from a desert in Tunis. I don't remember if they film in Tatooine desert.
I don't know. By the way, good morning, Admiral T. Good to see you, my friend. So I paused it here, and look it up, Martin. Just look it up. That's what Google is for. Or DuckDuck. Go. What's the other one? Dogpile used to be one of mine I used to use back in the old days. But Teddy Roosevelt loved trains, and he loved to tour on trains. And that's why I like this scene, because he always had the back of the train set up like that. And in fact, when an attempted assassination took place and he got shot when he was running the set for his third term. He finished his speech after being shot before he allowed them to hospitalize him.
Yep.
True fucking story. He was a badass, man. He was just an educated New Yorker, got his start in New York, but he went out west. He was born with asthma, and he was very sickly as a child, very weak. And they nursed him into health, and that is why later in life he was such a fitness fanatic. He was a big supporter of Kellogg. Kellogg cereal. That's the brother that did that. The other brother did the Kellogg's Fitness and Health Center, and he was insane. That dude was out of his fucking mind. There's a great movie with Anthony Hopkins playing him. And in fact, I wonder who played Roosevelt, because Roosevelt visited his salon, parlor, whatever you call it, giant estate, and he turned it into a fitness society, like a cult. He's very cultish, very strange dude. But anyway, Teddy Roosevelt supported that because he supported healthy living. And part of the reason he was that way is because he was so sickly as a child. But he went out west, became a buffalo hunter, an adventurer, and eventually founded the Rough Riders, famous for the Battle for San Juan Hill. And in the movie, and again, John Milius wrote and directed it. John Milius changed something historically because in real life, the soldiers that he yelled at were a black regiment. And they changed that in the movie. They're always afraid to show what he did, is that he yelled at them and called them lazy and get off your asses and go. And I don't think they were lazy at all. They were hellaciously good soldiers. I think they misunderstood what he was doing or who the fuck he even was. And I think that he could have done it correctly and been more accurate with it if he had done that. Because from everything I've read, I think they were confused. It wasn't like they were intentionally not doing what he said. They were confused because they were good soldiers. But it would lead to him later, when he became president, turning his back on the black regiment down in Louisiana, when allegations were made of sexual assault against him by some of the racist whites down there. And instead of supporting him, he turned his back on him. Just embarrassing. John Milius, of course, his problem is in that group of guys, Martin Scorsese, Brian De Palma, Francis Ford Coppola, George Lucas, and Spielberg, he was the only conservative. So they loved him. But when things went south for him, they all talked about, if you watch the documentary about Milius, they talk about him, but every single one of those guys had a chance to help him, and not one of them helped him. Not one. Don't forget that. That's right. He had the wrong political views. He tried to volunteer during the Vietnam War. He was 4F. He didn't wait to be drafted. He went to volunteer. And they wouldn't take him because he had medical problems. And it broke his heart because he believed he was destined to be a warrior and to be killed in combat. He was the character of Lieutenant Dan. Because Lieutenant Dan does that. He believed he was destined. And so when Forrest Gump saves him, he's like, no, put me back. Let me die in combat, because that's the way our family goes. And I love these scenes, by the way. It's very exciting. Not since Lawrence of Arabia do you really get in there with the Bedouins and get to see how they live their lives. Yeah, there were lean times. You look at the budget he got for Red Dawn, and what he did with that budget. And that's why when I've got it ready to go. I just haven't uploaded it yet for the full interview with 𝙒𝙄𝙊𝙉. I bring it up that because he said they couldn't get a Hine, and I said, why didn't they do? Because Rambo is like what? Rambo 3 was like a year, 2 years before. they made Firebirds. They had already mocked up the Hind helicopter for that movie. And then you got what they did with Red Dawn. Those were, they looked like Hinds on camera. They did such a good job. He did so much with such a small budget. But he was a real rogue, John Milius. And Francis loved him as a writer. I mean, he wrote the script for Apocalypse Now. And when he was interviewed, you can go up and you'll find this interview. They said, well, which parts were yours in the script? And he says, you know, all the parts that you love to quote from the movie Apocalypse Now, those were all written by John Milius. All those scenes you love to talk about, they're all by John Milius. They're not my scenes. He even wrote that thing with the French plantation there in Vietnam, which is only in the Redux version, where they went back and did a full-length cut of the film, and they added that French plantation scene back in. And it's there because it's also in the book. What's it called? I forgot the name of the book that Apocalypse Now is based on.
In the Heart of Darkness.
The Heart of Darkness. Yeah. And so I thought that was wonderful that they found a way to put that in there, that there were some Frenchmen that remained in Vietnam. And it's true. And by the way, Candice Bergen was so delightful back before she became political. And she's gorgeous in this movie. If she hadn't opened her big mouth and pissed people off, she probably would have been a bigger star, movie star. But she had to go to TV with Murphy Brown. Because she was a little bit like Jane Fonda, just a big fucking mouth, always getting political. What's this?
Man. Here comes the part of the with the tongue. And she asks, "What is that in the plate?" Oh, it's a tongue. And she freaks out.
Oh my God! By the way, good morning, Shinatsky. How you doing, buddy? By the way, where's Joe? Why didn't he join us today?
I don't know. He may be working on his commission.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He has a commission right now. I love that kind of history. Thanks for telling us about that in the Black Soldiers. Go read the story of San Juan Hill. And I believe fervently that it was a misunderstanding. I think they were confused by who he was. He wasn't their commander. I don't think they knew who he was.
So Shinatsky's real name is Senotsky.
She is second.
It's pronounced with the Connery style.
Well, of course. He doesn't say of course. He says, of course. Now that you've got that laser pointed at my willy, I suppose you expect me to talk. No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to go to the Bruin View. That was a commercial I did. That was a commercial I did back in the 90s for, I was the voice actor back in the 90s for the local radio stations, and I would do impressions of famous actors for commercials. They got paid for it. It was fun. I would really like to know how Sean Connery felt filming this and some stories from this time on this set. I'm curious about it too. I'm going to go, I'll tell you what, Muslim Uncle, I'm going to find if there's any behind the scenes documentaries about this film and if they're available on YouTube. And if they are, I will share it with you on Twitter and tag you. I love Brian Keith in this. God, he is so fucking good. The scenes with his daughter, because I'm glad they put that in there because he had a very close relationship with his daughter. But I love these discussions where he starts talking about that goddamn big grizzly bear he killed. True story. And I love the way they threw that in. Also, that he was boxing and the guy hit him and it detached his retina and became blind in his left eye. And that's in the movie. They put that in there. They mentioned it a couple of times. Like when he's reading, he has to cover his eye to read.
Bullard.
Agreed, deleted scenes. Absolutely agreed. Certain things. That's right. Certain things in here don't react well to bullets, Mr. Ryan. And I love that, yeah, as much as I dislike him personally, Alec Baldwin was really good in that. And he does a great Sean Connery in that scene where he, like me, saying deleted, but their stance gains them favor. Yeah. The thing is, for years they've lied and said that, well, the Hollywood actors are lefties, but the people who run Hollywood aren't. That's a lie. And we now know that because we're seeing what Bob Iger has done. And in fact, this morning, Chris Gore, great post about the Marvels failure. And I said, look, this failure began the moment Bob Iger forgot why they bought Marvel and Lucasfilm. The entire reason was because research was done by marketing at Disney that when children hit the age of 12, only females stuck with Disney. They lost the boys. And they were like, well, what are we going to do? We've got to get those boys' butts back in the seat. Got to keep them. And women stay fans into adulthood, but not men. So how do we do that? So they bought Marvel and they bought Star Wars. And immediately, the idiocracy took over, and look what they did. They feminized it. Going completely against this polo game on bicycles is crazy. And Anima was shocked by what they do in this scene, by the way, where it's other scenes too, where human beings, slaves, are turned into seats. They kneel on the ground and allow them to sit on them or step on them, get up into their carriage.
It's just disgusting how they turn them into furniture. Like, just use actual
But that's
furniture.
the way these guys were.
Sadly,
And they still are. I got to be honest with
you.
The Middle East is wrought with slavery to this day. Wrought with
so fucked up.
One of my favorite episodes is a 2-part episode of Mission Impossible, the TV series, dealt with the Middle Eastern slavery, the white slave trade. Great thing about Baldwin is when he did the cameo in Glengarry Glen Ross, he wasn't acting. No, he was a dick. He is a dick in real life. Perfect. She's gorgeous. I love how tough she is.
Give the man his video.
Oh, Penny's here. Hi, Penny. Well, we haven't put this for either of them, and you're in charge of it.
Oh, man. We need to talk. Here we go.
Fuck you, Kyle.
There you go.
I don't know what I'm in charge of anymore.
And don't forget Tim.
Oh,
Tim's been here since the beginning.
Oh,
he was first, actually.
Yes, he was. He was first.
I don't know.
This guy shows just how pampered and spoiled he is in this scene. I can't go against him. He's my uncle.
He has a very fragile ego.
And then you find out the nepotism here, that the other guy that he's against is also his uncle.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just ridiculous.
It kind of reminds me of the situation with the Last Samurai.
Very much so. Even though they screwed up historically on the emperor, they tried to show him as spineless. He absolutely was against the samurai.
Here we go, 14.
This is the sort of thing. Okay.
By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
I'm not sure. Maybe. It is the shit between the two warring brothers and the nephew that pissed Teddy Roosevelt off. That he couldn't get anywhere with these sons of bitches. And he says, I want my people back now. This is back when a president would fight for hostages and threaten people for them. And he said, that's it. I'm sending in the stick. And he sent in a contingent of U.S. Marines. And that scene is one of my favorite scenes. And it's one of the things, this film inspired me in so many ways to want to be a soldier. Because he shows the Marines with so much honor. Everybody is shown with honor in this, except for the leaders, the Arab leaders, because he shows them for what they are. They were like your typical blue blood fucking rich people that have no context of real life. But when it came down to especially the Bedouins, they understood life. And that's why, what's his name? Lawrence was so impassioned about them. This is a great scene too, the birthday. And he cuts right through the Panama Canal on the tape.
That was, and the thing is, yeah, is that
There's his daughter.
see?
There's his daughter. She does such a good job in this.
You know what I really love? Because Teddy Roosevelt had asthma. His family has to help him blow out the candles.
Yep.
I love that little
They
detail.
left it in there.
Yeah. But yeah, him cutting through the Panama Canal. That was cool.
And by the way, those are Brian Keith's teeth. He had teeth just like Teddy Roosevelt. Perfect. Flat.
He's just perfect to play that role.
He was born to play Teddy Roosevelt. And I think he played him twice. Let me look it up real quick. Brian Keith, Teddy Roosevelt. Seems like he played an older version of him. I'm not sure. They're not showing it here. I'm going to look it up and I'll post something on Twitter about it because I'm pretty sure he played him twice.
I can't think of what the other time is.
I'm looking at Martin's list to make sure I haven't missed anybody.
What?
Yeah, I'm going to have to look it up because I might be wrong.
Yeah.
But I loved him talking about Winchesters, Remingtons. These are some great rifles. These are the rifles I grew up with. My favorite show. Go ahead.
I love how he sheds on the Winchester salesman there. Is you will figure that the president will have his personal rifle well fitted for him. I will have to ask to the Ray Shuley.
I love the speech about the American grizzly because
Rajuli, that's it. Rajuli is Sean Connery's position.
The reporters asked him earlier if he was going to turn the grizzly bear into a rock for the White House, and he gets annoyed and says, like, no, this needs to be in the museum.
And it is.
Here he
It is
demonstrates.
in the museum.
Here he demonstrates because they give him the sketches about how the taxidermied bear is going to look like, and he's like, yeah, no, that is so wrong. So he jumps up on the table and shows them.
He shows the pose that the bear should be in. But I got to tell you, I've actually been there and seen the bear personally many times there at the Museum of Natural History in D.C. I grew up in Fredericksburg, 50 miles from D.C. So every weekend, my dad would take me, and when I became an adult, Jim Woodward, his sister Leslie, Ann, Michael Beatty, all of us would just drive up there. And we'd love to spend time up in D.C. My son Benjamin, every weekend, I would take him up there. And that bear is there in the natural history of science. And Teddy Roosevelt, that's why they show it in that movie, by the way, Night at the Museum.
Yeah,
when he visits the bear. But I love this scene because he gets up on that thing and he says, make sure to send a picture to the guy that actually has to do the taxidermy. Because he hated all the poses. And by the way, did you notice what pose the last one where he says, you made him look like a cow?
Yeah.
That is the pose of the grizzly bear on the California seal. It's the same pose. So I think that was a shot at California. And by the way, there are no grizzly in California. They hunted them into extinction in California.
Yep.
Not surprised.
Yeah, California. Awesome state.
Mm-hmm.
Sagamore Hill with elephant skin wallpaper, hundreds of birds and mid-sized animals, all sorts of, along with maybe 1,200 rifles. And by the way, what I was trying to say about the Winchester, I'm not a fan of the Winchester. I prefer the Marlin. The Marlin 30-30 is a better lever action rifle. And it's also partly because I dislike the port being on top of the rifle. I've been hit in the face too many times firing Winchesters. Marlins won't do it. It ports out the side. You'll never get hit by a weapon, the round when you're discharging it. Seal of the great state of Missouri has 2 bears fighting. And the thing I find funny about the state of Missouri is it's called the Show Me State. And some of the worst hucksters I've ever fucking met were from Missouri. Ironic. Yeah, I don't think I mean, you know, that's what Norman Bates was. He did taxidermy as a hobby.
That is one thing, but elephant skin wallpaper? What the actual fuck?
I wouldn't do it.
That sounds wrong.
Elephants are like whales. They're one of the mammals on this planet that we know has a high IQ. Yeah, they're capable of emotional expression, real emotional expression. I believe if souls exist, they have one.
They have graveyards where they go to die.
They go back and they weep.
Yeah, they
They'll go back and visit and weep.
They are just fascinating.
Now, still, oh, here he is. That's the leader. I can't remember what his rank is in the film, but he is the leader that's going to take that contingent of Marines and sailors, by the way.
Isn't he a captain?
He might be a captain.
Yes.
All I know is
Captain.
he's carrying what is typically carried by NCOs. But again, I want to point out in the Marine Corps, NCO, in the Marine Corps, they treat that as they do refer to themselves as officers. They are non-commissioned officers.
Wasn't
That
this
is
guy
why in the
Star
Marine
Trek?
Corps, you can refer to their NCOs as sir. Not in the Army. They treat it differently in the Army. Marine Corps, totally different.
This guy, wasn't he in Star Trek in the episode of the Yanks and the comms? I think he was the Yang that was in prison with Kirk.
Let me go look. Let me go look. Because he stopped working in 2014. I don't know if he died, but I'll check in a second. He's in Pumpkinhead too, though. He was the corrupt dad. Go back to nope. He's not in Star Trek.
No.
His first job was The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean, a favorite film of mine with Paul Newman. I love that movie. Oh my God, that was good. Is he still alive? Yep, he's still alive. Born in 46. Yeah, when he played in that movie Dillinger, you get to see him carrying one of Don's and my favorite weapons. He carried the Colt 45 1911A. And there is, by the way, this isn't a drama. This is an action drama. There's a lot of action in this film. It's not over the top. It's straightforward, realistic. And again, when you see this movie, all I can think of is that line from Mako in Conan, you know, a tale of high adventure.
A tale, that's right, because the way this story is told, it's just so delightful to watch. I mean, it is a 2-hour movie and it doesn't feel like it. You just get stuck in that story, and when it ends, you're like, oh, damn, that was it? It's just perfect.
That's interesting, Teague. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. He was saying that Teddy Roosevelt is the first president to have an audio recording of his voice made.
I'm sure that's true.
Oh, I love the fez on this guy.
They could do that.
I like the fez caps. They're really cool. Hey, it's Emotionally Unstable Amphibian. What's up?
One of the best nicknames in our chat.
Yep. And oddly
Crazy
complicated, but easy to say.
Crazy
Some of the combination of names that some people came up with, really, like Courtney, I have trouble when she puts her full name out.
It's just too long.
It's not that it's too long, it's complicated and it's hard to say.
Well, for
and you don't
you.
want to say it a bunch of times. Now, I spent some time in Spain. I love Spain. I was in Marbella and Malaga. And in fact, Anna was with me when I found the dock. It's a funny story.
Took a while.
We found it, didn't we? They
Yeah.
changed what's up on the beach, and that was what was confusing me. I was looking for certain places, but they changed it. But once we found it, it was like, that's it. That's the spot where I got drunk when I was 13. My dad and a bunch of his friends, the guys who built the A10 Fairchild. This is 77. They were on vacation. They're about to go back and finish building it, the first ones. And the girl broke my heart. And so every guy there was like 8 men. Each one of them was sneaking me something to drink and got me fucking hammered.
That's what good friends are for.
They didn't know. Each one thought they were the only one doing it.
Okay. Lucky you, I guess.
Yeah, and so I got hammered at the age of 13. But I was drinking at 13. In Ireland, I told you I went to that pub.
You also did other things at 13, if I remember
Yeah, I had
correctly.
sex. I had sex. With an 18-year-old girl. The one who broke my heart. And but we went into a pub in Ireland down in the Ring of Kerry. And it was Sunday morning. We were riding our bicycles into the country. And the pub was the only thing open. So I opened the door and I stuck my head in. And I wasn't sure if we were allowed in because we were all kids, ranging from the age of 12 to 15.
Yeah, that's Ireland, though.
And I said, sir, can we come in and get something to drink? And he says, aye, lad, if you're tall enough to belly up to the bar, you're old enough to drink here. And I got that look on my face. And I turned around. You guys got more money? We can have Guinness.
Yeah,
we went in there and had Guinness. That was fun. Again, this scene is very reminiscent of Conan with the lighting, staging, all of this. And I wouldn't be surprised that this is probably the same area where they filmed it. That final battle.
Yeah, we are late for our t-shirt ad.
I do not pray to you. I do not have the tongue for it.
We really are late. Martin, that's your job.
Oh,
Is he even there?
Yes.
I know.
Very busy, but it is. He is here.
hi, I just went to puberty. Pop culture hit me through. That's right. Pop Culture Minefield has 8 essential minerals and vitamins and will help you go through puberty.
Okay.
And the movie starts again. I love the horseplay in this film. They're small horses, though.
Arabic.
What?
Yeah, they're not
Arabic horses are
Arabic horses.
smaller.
It's not a tall breed. They're very
Yeah.
elegant.
And it works in the film, I got to tell you. But sometimes you get a big actor, and they look like ponies. Like John Wayne rode a small horse in El Dorado. It's the one that he got to go backwards. He trained it and worked with that horse and got it to go backwards. When he
You
had to
feel
leave the
sad
camp.
for that horse.
The bad guy's camp. He didn't want to turn the horse around. He wanted to back out. He looks so fucking big on that horse, and that horse looks so tiny under his 6 foot. So he's 6'2" or 6'4". I forget how tall he was. It was like right around my height. Connery nailed it in this. He doesn't have any makeup on to make him look dark. I appreciate that more than anything. But right here, he actually delivers a line and
6'4".
says a word in a way that somebody from there would have said it, but he says it with a Scottish brogue. It's just funny to me.
It was
And it led
6'4",
to
the
a-
same height as Clint Eastwood.
He was 6'4". Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, he's just an inch taller than me. Same height as Keith. Keith is 6'4".
Yeah. I am not.
You are not?
I'm not 6'4".
How tall are you? I know I'm taller than you because when I hugged you that night, I was obviously taller than you.
Yeah, I'm like 5'9". So
yeah, I could practically put my head on top of your chin and just hold you.
I'm glad you didn't. That would have just been awkward.
It would have been fun.
It would have been cute.
But I do. I hug my friends. John knows that. I hug my friends. I love my friends. There it is. He arrives. I love this scene. And these sailors are prepared for combat. This is where he gives the order.
Gerry. I just remembered something.
He gives the order to fix bayonets, move. The only mistake that's made here is when he gives the command, file to the right, column right, move. And then there's the separate command. He didn't give the command to turn the platoon around. He doesn't give that command. They just do it for some reason. Column left march. That is not how you do that. And there's no other command given, and then they suddenly turn around. It's like, you got to give commands for that. DNC, man. DNC is beat into you in the military. DNC stands for drill and ceremony. Marching is important, and how you hold your weapon is important. There's nothing worse than seeing a movie where you see the rifles in different angles. They should all be uniform, all at the exact same angle, beat into you. Now, this is a great scene because right here, Jeffrey Lewis's character, the ambassador, is holding a Webley 38 behind his back because he's prepared for war right now because he knows it's coming. And the French and Germans are not going to like Marines marching in front of the embassy on Embassy Row. You got a contingent of Marines marching. And then he gives the order to quick time, and they start marching quickly. It's almost like double time.
Is that Pershing?
I don't think so.
Is Pershing doing this to general at that point?
That German Shepherd's legitimately freaked out. I like that they caught that. Yeah, this is Ramirez if he had survived the Middle Ages. I didn't know this was a John Milius film. Yes, this is an absolute must-see. If you love John Milius, and this film is one of the films that inspired me to want to be a soldier. This scene in particular. The French are like, what is going on? The Germans are not happy. He's like, puts his monocle in, fucking American. And these guys are confused, like, oh. He gives the order, enemy to your right. Take firing positions. Move. Fire. That's great.
By the way, boss, we were talking about a different Marine because when you said he was born on 46, I said no, that we're not talking about the same guy. This is the guy that I was talking about, and he's
in that scene. I didn't see him.
Yeah, the two Marines.
I'll go look and see if he's in there, but I don't want to miss this scene. I love this scene. This is like one of my favorite moments in the film. Fucking Navy's even fucking charging. Now, there's a little bit of combat here where you see a guy swing a sword at nobody. He's supposed to make contact with somebody, but they didn't, and it gets caught on camera, and he's like, I'll smack this guy in the back. He just smacked some dude in the back with the flat of the blade, and it just looks funny to me every time I see it. But the bayonet scenes is real. They did this. And Marines do carry their swords. And these guys are all dying around him. He doesn't fucking care. He smokes his hookah. Your president is a madman. or is mad. Yes, sir. Salutes him. I love that moment. No, it's not there. Oh, well. It's a great moment, though. It's like basically, that he is, sir, and salutes him. You don't mess with Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, he was on the Battle of San Juan Hill.
Yeah, and that one in the movie The Rough Riders, sniper, what's his name? Tom Berenger played him. And he does a great job of him. Though I think that, and look, don't get me wrong, I think they make him look a little silly in the movie. Like he's what do you call it? Fish out of water.
Yeah. He was in the Philippines he was in the Philippines at this time.
Yeah. I like that. Lots of movies that on purpose, hey, look, it's Jabba. He's slimmed down.
Now that's a scope.
Now he does something here, and that's why the daughter asks him why he's closing his eye, because you're supposed to keep both eyes open, and it's because of the detached retina in his left eye, because it messes up the way he fires. Yeah, Houston's character is an ambassador. He's a diplomat. He doesn't understand what Teddy's doing, and Teddy's like going, "I'm tired of their bullshit, and we're gonna fucking finish this quickly, and they'll see we don't fuck around." It's something that I believe he had. There we go. The light bothers me because of the damage to his eye. I love that they threw little things like that in there. And a lot of people don't know this, that his son, if you see the movie The Longest Day, Henry Fonda plays his son in the movie. And he was killed during D-Day. He had a massive heart attack after they landed on Juneau. And but Teddy was already dead. He had passed away in the 20s. He never got to see his son serve.
Yep.
And here we go. This is where I think the movie excels too, is it really embodies Teddy Roosevelt's philosophy in the film and what made him such a great president. And Brian Keats said this is one of his favorite roles he ever played.
He has a lot of great lines in this movie.
Was it 1919? Thanks, Tim.
Hey, look, it's Ramirez.
My name is Juan Sanchez Ramirez.
Villalobos Ramirez.
Villalobos Ramirez. Valdez. Wasn't Valdez the last one? The last
Maybe.
name?
Yeah, I just know Villalobos is in there somewhere.
Because I wrote an entire comedy routine on Sean Connery once.
Yeah.
And it got a lot of praise because it was funny. Because the whole thing is that David Frost is interviewing him, and I did Sean Connery, had a powdered wig on because that was all we had in the, we were an improv group. And I just told everybody, just follow my lead. You're David Frost. You're going to interview, and you need to say this thing each time you talk to Connery, but you still have a Scottish brogue or accent. And if we do that each time, this is going to be funny. You permit me to say the conversation woman does not interest me. And again, you know, you get to see the calm times with the Bedouins and the Arabs in this. And it makes them more likable, more family-like. You get to see that. And it's something that I got to personally experience when I was in Riyadh. And President, too, he was the highest ranking officer to land in the first wave. That's right. And he had a fucking heart attack on the beach.
Did he have a pre-existing condition, or what triggered it?
Yes. Yes. Plus, he had a bum leg.
How did he ever become a soldier then?
In fact, they showed that in the film that
Right,
the commanding
yeah.
officer didn't want him to go on the beach because of his injury. So he left his cane outside in the hall.
He pretended to be fine.
And
I remember
acted like
now,
he was
yeah.
fine.
He really wanted to be there.
No, that is actually one of Sean Connery's favorite films he ever did because he got to work with his best friend, Michael Caine. People don't know that those two were roommates when they were just starting out in the late 50s, going into the 60s. They were roommates in London, and both drinkers, but Connery was the more of the party guy. He liked the women. Michael did too, but he fell in love pretty quickly, to be honest with you, and he's still married to the same woman to this day. My boy Jack. The World War I film. Yes, it's a very good movie. It's a very good movie. I saw that a long time ago when it came out. It was after the invasion. Like I said, it was after the invasion, but he was there still in Normandy, and he had a heart attack. Let me look. Yeah, he died 6 days. So it was D-Day plus 6. When Connery sings. And it's funny, other than Finnegan's Rainbow, was that the movie? He's never again in another musical.
Can't imagine why.
I mean, even Lee Marvin did a musical, Paint Your Wagon. No, but I think they wanted the movie to end on triumphant note. Longest Day is a little bit of a mess. It's only a mess because it didn't show certain things that occurred. Oh my God, the blue screen in that film. I showed that to Anima so she can see just how bad it was.
It was bad.
Because they even do a blue screen at the camp scene where they're getting chow. And it looked so fucking weird because you can see through parts of the helmet. It's just really badly done.
Oh God,
The disappearing officer.
That too, yes.
Yeah, I never liked his Connery on SNL. His other impressions were really good. I don't think he got when he would go, screw you, Trebek. I was born under a wandering star. Connery is musical and can't truly sing. It's sort of like a Scottish rapper. Yeah, it's what do you call it? Not rap, but spoken word. He's nothing like Richard Harris. Oh my God, Richard Harris could sing. Although there are certain critics that didn't like him. I loved it. MacArthur Park, Camelot.
Yep. I took American Music Theater in middle school, so as an elective. So I got to see all of those musicals.
I loved them. I got the LP with MacArthur Park when I was 12. I bought it. So I was a big Richard Harris fan, and I loved his movies, and I loved that he could sing. Mistakes in the open of their movie. It was so fixed. Wait a minute. What's this? Leaving that terrible mistake. Which one?
The Longest Day.
The Longest Day.
The Longest Day.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. Somebody should have gone back and fixed it. I mean, they go back and they fix the Big Red One, which is on our list to be watching soon. I love that movie, and I do believe John is going to be joining us for that. Brandenburg.
Yeah.
Dr. Brandenburg will be joining us. He gave me a list of films he wanted, and that hit the list. And I'm like, it's already on there, but I will gladly invite you to watch that with us to talk about it. Mm-hmm. He was offered Gandalf. I just don't understand. He didn't understand it. It made no sense to him. It was nonsense. Look, if it doesn't have a smack in a woman, he doesn't get it.
Sometimes you just got to give a woman a little schmack.
A little smack. Yeah, and the only version to watch is
a really
the
long time for
full-length
that link to
director's.
get through.
They went back to his original edit notes after he had died and put the film back together again the way he wanted it edited. The original theatrical release was shorter, but it was kind of not good. It was missing too much. And they went back in the early 2000s and they went to his notes and put the movie back together again correctly. So now the only version to watch is the final cut, which is based off his director's notes. Oh, it had trouble. It struggled at the box office, Big Red One. But it's a classic, man. It's a well done film.
Because I just saw one. We wanted to talk about the weird German helmets after watching the movie, and we forgot.
Originally, that was designed for sword fighting.
Okay.
As a means to deflect off the helmet. But eventually that went away, sword fighting. And it still worked with bayonets if you were to drop your helmet down at them. But in the end, it became more decorative. And eventually
Makes it harder to take cover though, because you're just like
you're sticking up slightly.
Centimeters, yeah. Makes you taller than you actually are. That's why.
Oh, Tim, you've been to Lee Marvin's grave. Yeah. And by the way, those things in that too, it's like I've always disliked small dogs except for one when I was a kid. It was my grandma, the Wicked Witch of the East. She had 2 Chihuahuas, but the one I liked was Pepper, and he and I got along. He was the fat little Chihuahua she had, and we hung out together. But men, I find it interesting when you see a big man holding a little dog, and that's what had happened to me late in life. I've always been a big dog guy. I always liked my smallest dog I had was a beagle as a kid. I prefer labs, German shepherds, huskies. Not huskies, malamutes, because they're bigger. I like malamutes. I've had 3 malamutes. And but I met Taylor 2 years ago, and I fell in love with that little dog. And she was my constant companion. She was so adorable. The fast forward feature, what are we talking about there?
Don't know.
When they go back, genealogists go back and look, there's a lot of people in the United States that are related to leaders of the past. That's why I like that show about DNA. And people go to find out who their distant relatives were. I forget the name of the show. I haven't watched it in a year.
I'm related to a guy that signed the Declaration of Independence, and I'm related to John Wayne.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, no, I'm going to be uploading that. I meant to do it last week. I'm going to do it this week. Put it up there. Probably. I don't want to put it up too close to anybody's shows. I'll probably put up in the afternoon. This is a great moment here with him. And this is where we get to see all the guys that were at odds with each other suddenly fighting on the same side.
I like the attitude of the captain. He was just looking all the time for an excuse to fight someone. No, I'm going to free him. Haven't you told me before? I will help you. I'll shoot all.
And that's a shotgun. Now the Germans hated our shotgun in the military.
Oh, yeah.
And they tried to have it outlawed. And they threatened that if they captured anyone with a shotgun, they would execute them. And we're like, try it. See what happens. You pull that shit. You don't get to dictate.
FA and FO.
It's just, it was one of the most effective weapons, the shotgun.
Oh,
In
yeah.
Vietnam, they were nicknamed the Greeners, 12 gauge. You're related to Mr. Adam and Mr. Eve. I'm related to a few people. I'm related to Dr. Seuss. I'm related to �12𝙊𝙉𝙉.
That's cool.
I'm also related to Richard Burton because his real name is Richard Jenkins, and his nickname was Little Dicky in Wales. Because on my grandmother's side, we have the Welsh Jenkins family bloodline. Yeah, shit's gonna get tense here with the Germans, the Germans with Ethel Merman.
And because it's an old movie, they used real German actors, or at least people who really spoke German.
Oh, so I think it was Tim that brought this up, that she's a second generation Hollywood royalty. And I went, yes, Edgar Bergen was her father. I meant to say that earlier and I forgot, I got distracted. Edgar Bergen, famous, terrible ventriloquist, but hilarious guy. You could see his lips move. You could see his lip. You could see his lips move every time the dummies would talk. He didn't even try to hide it. But what he was doing was so quick-witted and so funny. It was Mortimer Snerd and Charlie McCarthy. Those were his dummies. They were hilarious. I remember reading when I was young that there was a tension between her and her dad. Wait a minute. Kept what around for, what's this? Our Muslim uncle said something about Close Encounters and Hicks. Here. I don't know who Hicks is. Who's Hicks? And what is he talking about? I don't know what he's referring to. What were you referring to there? I'm very curious. Oh, God. Yeah. She gets him free and drops him on his head. And, are you hurt? It's like, yeah, she's dropping him. There it is. The Mauser, 1899. Famous pistol for being Han Solo's gun.
Yeah, so I started to say that's what they used for the model for Han Solo's gun.
For aliens.
Yeah.
It's a breach gun. It's used for breaching. It's true. He put a fist up a dummy's ass. It's true. Work your mouth like a puppet. If I want your opinion, I'll put my fist up your ass and work your mouth like a puppet. That's another quote from a movie. If anybody knows the movie, good on you. Anybody know it?
Nope.
Mark Wahlberg,
Nope.
Will Ferrell, cop movie.
Oh, the other guys.
If I want your opinion, Sam Jackson.
Yeah,
I'll
I remember
shove
that.
my
Yeah.
fist up your ass and work your mouth like a goddamn puppet. So this is what's really cool about this scene is you get to see what it's going to be like when Americans fight Germans. And here he is fighting the Fazuli, Sean Connery. That kid carrying that 12 gauge pump, man.
He's
Look at him.
giving that up.
He's mesmerized by him.
Yeah.
Puppet axe.
That boy is going to be a warrior. He has courage.
By the way, sorry about that. I accidentally clicked you, John. I love the combat scenes in this. It's very straightforward. And you're not confused by the action either, because he steps back. It's one of the complaints I have with Ridley Scott when he films his combat scenes at the beginning of Gladiator. He gets too much into the action. You're in it. And him and Tony started doing that shaky camera shit, which pissed me off. They did it in G.I. Jane. It's an in-camera technique, and it doesn't work, in my opinion. You should only use that when there's an explosion.
It makes sense with an explosion, but man, I hate shaky cam.
It just looks bad. I want to create the confusion of combat. Then show it. Don't shoot it. Show it. Sorry, it's one of those things that makes me grunt.
Oh.
There's the bear. Look at that bear. Now, it's not the real bear, but it's a replica they did for the movie. But if you go to the Smithsonian, it is there.
Hey, Yogi, why did they stuff me?
Hey, boo-boo.
Yeah.
What is it, Yogi? Let's steal us some picnic baskets, hey? Hey, Scribelight, what's up, buddy? Yeah. And by the way, I love how Oliver Reed died in so many ways. Tragic as it is, because he's a great actor. But he went out hard drinking with a bunch of fucking Australian sailors. Gave himself a fucking heart attack.
Damn.
And by the way, Terry Leonard, stunt coordinator for the film. Everybody knows him as Harrison Ford's stunt double for the Indiana Jones films and in Blade Runner. In fact, he's his stand-in Blade Runner for the bathroom scene when he goes and finds the scale in the bathtub. That's not Harrison Ford. That's Terry Leonard, the whole scene. That's why they shot it backlit. Ford was off doing something. I forget what it was, but he was doing something else. And he wasn't able to be there for that scene. And that scene never got finished. But in the Dragon cut of Blade Runner, which I've seen the first half, a very good cut, by the way. A Japanese film editor added some of the additional effects. And it really looks good. He puts what's his name that had the apartment that they're investigating. They put him in the bathroom because he was supposed to be up on the ceiling, holding himself up there against the walls with his feet and hands. And he's hiding up in the darkness up in the tall ceiling, watching Deckard go in there and do that. And he put it back in there. And it's creepy as fuck when you see it. As soon as he finishes the full edit, I'm going to be asking for it. And I've also talked to him about having him on to talk about it. But the problem is he speaks no English. And so we need a Japanese translator. I found one, but he informed me that the editor doesn't like him.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Okay.
The Blade Runner community, I'm telling you, there's a lot of either you like someone or you don't like them. There's no gray area. And it's like, I'm respected by a lot of the people in the Blade Runner community that have been around for a long time. They run all of the Facebook groups. Most of the major groups know who I am. And it was really funny. I went on one and I corrected a guy, and it's funny. He said, no, I know that back in the 80s, Ridley was talking about it in an interview in, was it in film? I forget the name of the magazine. I have them all on my hard drive. I have every major science fiction magazine digitally on my hard drive. And he said that Deckard was a replicant. And I'm like, I have all of those magazines. I'm going to go do a search. And I did. I went in every reference to Blade Runner with Ridley. Nothing. I said, I even went through Cinefantastic and Starlog. You know, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That didn't come out until later. Now, I heard that there was supposedly a reference that a person talking about Blade Runner was talking to Ridley about the different edits. And the guy says, well, that would kind of infer that Deckard is a replicant. And Ridley just sort of shrugged it off. Maybe. Never made an intense statement.
Not
about
important,
it
I
until
guess.
after the release of the director's cut. And then it became a matter of a subject with the director's cut. And then that's when it started. Blade Runner lives matter. They do. But only the human ones. Or with Doomcock. Doomcock and I don't agree on that at all. And Doomcock would not listen to me. He won't listen to reason. Those of us with a writing background know better than to, fall for that shit. And also, anybody who tells me, well, Ridley Scott said, I'm like, look, when you go see a movie, you're the judge and jury. All the director is an attorney trying to make his case. And it's up to you whether he did or didn't. You're the one who finds somebody guilty, innocent, the hero or the villain. You decide, not the fucking director. What the director believes is in the film is not important. What's important is what's there, and what's there isn't there. It's not there. And it's still not there. Even with the final cut, it's still not there. Structurally, it's not there. And also, it completely removes the whole theme and point of the film, is that a human has forgotten how to feel and learns to feel again because of replicants. Roy Batty saving him at the end makes no sense if he's a replicant. The whole point of him saving him was that he saw something worth saving. And he calls him, you people. If he's a replicant, Batty would have known. It's just fucking dumb. It's just dumb. What's in the script says he's not. There is some visual things that were done in the film. The glowing eye. The origami thing. They're fuck, man. I explained to people, Gaff was working him the whole fucking movie. He wasn't guessing what was in his head. He was putting things in his head. First time I'm hearing of this cut, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. The dragon cut? It's not really fully available yet. When it is, I will let you guys know. I think it's going to be a worthwhile watch because the first half of it was really good. Who would win in a drinking contest, Oliver Reed or Richard Burton? Neither. They're dead. I was looking at John to see what he would do.
John, do it. Use the sound, please.
The air went out of his balloon.
Okay. So it's up to me then.
Oliver Reed did drink with Richard Burton. He drank with Richard Harrison and Peter O'Toole. They all drank. They were heavy drinkers. They were alcoholics. One of the funniest things is that Peter O'Toole and Richard Harris were best friends in real life. They were best friends. And if they went out drinking, the person who was the most sober, if the other actor got drunk that was playing the role on stage, the other actor knew the part and would take over the role and go play it. So instead of Peter O'Toole as a character, King Lear, it would suddenly be Richard Harris showing up on stage. Impromptu.
It's not unusual in theater.
This is the visual representation of 𝙒𝙄𝙊𝙉 and reaction to your joke.
But they did drink together, and I don't know. I got to tell you, drinking killed both of those men, and that's the sad thing. Richard Harris lasted longer, and a form of cancer killed him. He was sick the entire time, dying when he was playing Dumbledore. He knew that he was going to be dying, just like Boseman that played Black Panther.
Yeah,
Boseman. Chadwick
Boseman.
Yep.
Peter O'Toole. Yeah, I remember as a kid, I always thought that was funny. Both his names are words for penises.
Of course you would think that.
Well, of course. I've got a filthy mind.
You're a dirty monkey.
I was a G-rated person, but my humor was very, very blue from a very early age. I didn't say a lot of foul words though when I was a kid. I didn't cuss much.
Hard to believe.
I would love to see that.
See what?
Non-cussing Gerry.
It did exist. The U.S. Army broke me.
Broke you or broke you free?
Either one. It just the innocent, naive kid in me was broken by the Army and changed in a good way. I think in a good way, because I think I'm a better person because of the Army. I know that I have more respect for myself since I served. And by the way, I want to go into this because you heard Adam Driver, the guy at a Q&A after the showing of Ferrari, asked the question about the car wrecks were really intense, just rough to watch, but at the same time, they were also really kind of phony. And what do you think? And Adam Driver's response was like, fuck you. Move on, next question. And I'm like, as funny as that is, that's really fucking rude. You're doing a Q&A to support and promote your fucking film that you're in.
Yes,
you're promoting it for the studio and the director of your film. To do that, to attack a member of the audience like that, I expect something better from a Marine, a little more discipline. And I thought that was really ugly that he did that. I chuckled, but then I was like, that was wrong. You shouldn't do that. It's like, could you, I fuck around with the audience. We joke and stuff. That's joking. But if you guys like the support you give us, if I ever acted that way, well, fuck you. I deserve what would come from that. I would deserve it. So it's just unprofessional. And so I don't know. I think a little less of Adam Driver after he did that. Everybody aware of this?
Yeah,
I was
it.
made aware when I saw your tweet about it.
Yes.
I didn't really say one way or the other how I felt until later. I'm like, no, I don't like that he did that. I don't like it. I don't think it's funny.
Yeah, but listen, you don't know. He might have had a bad day, long day. These things are exhausting. So
I have
maybe
bad days, and I don't take it out on other people. It's discipline. It's all about discipline. It's discipline.
I get that.
Calling accidents cheesy is
that is just fucked up. I get why this question upset him.
Wait, what did you say, John? I'm sorry, I was reading something.
Oh, calling the accidents in the movie cheesy was a little too.
Oh, definitely it was rude. But what you usually do is like you kind of make fun of them for saying it's like cheesy, really? That's the question you want to throw at me? If I thought it was cheesy, no. And then you just move on. You smile, laugh it off. It's okay to poke fun at your audience. Don't fucking insult them.
It just threw him off.
Don't attack them. If that's the case, Gerry, and the horse you rode in on, which is a classic line, fuck you and the horse you rode in on.
You use that a lot, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got that. I read a book. God, what was that? I think it was not The Short Timers, which became Full Metal Jacket. I think it was the book Rumor of War by Philip Caputo. And in that book, he tells a lieutenant, fuck you and the horse you rode in on. And that lieutenant ends up dying because he's an idiot. He runs up to a grass hooch, throws a grenade in, and then leans up against the grass hut wall.
It's the grass.
His own stupidity.
Oh my God.
That was dumb.
Duh.
In the book, man, it's a great book. Philip Caputo. It's a semi-biographical story of his experiences in the Vietnam War. Another one that I liked, the book, and then the miniseries was really good. It had Robert Urich and Brian Dennehy in it, called Fighting Back, the Rocky Bleier story. He, of course, is the running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
And he had so much shrapnel in him that they said he would never walk again. And he ended up being a fucking running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Got hit so many times in that fucking game, the Super Bowl that year. Was it 1980? Was it 80? 81? Something like that. Yeah. God, that was a great game. And he got hit so many times when he went back to the locker room. He was pissing blood.
Ouch.
It's in the book. It's in the book. He talks about it.
Tim has to go.
Oh, Tim, you got to go, buddy? All right, man. See you later.
Tim.
Bye, Tim.
Yeah, trolling is something. I like to troll people. I troll them all the time. But I do it in a playful way. I don't want to be too mean. I don't get mean unless somebody gets belligerent with somebody else. I don't like bullies, internet bullies in particular, and I'll just mock them. I'll say, oh, if you've ever seen me go after somebody, it can get gnarly.
I'm completely with you about the discipline that he should have maintained. However, remember that 𝙒𝙄𝙊𝙉 have made his life a living hell. He has to move. They harass his wife. They publicly.
Why?
Because the thing of the 𝙒𝙊𝙉. That one.
Oh, that's it. Those people.
Yes.
Those people
so I think that
I'm still going to go back to the thing because you guys. I'm not dissing you when I say this. No. You're non-military. You don't fucking understand.
Yep.
I understand. I understand.
Discipline matters, and you don't ever let that show. The one time I came close was in the military when that guy was just fucking ragging me one day. We were not given an all clear, and we we're stuck in MOP level 4, and it was 100 and some degrees out. And if you don't know what MOP level gear is, it's charcoal filtered clothing, thick padded clothing you have to wear. It's got charcoal filters in it that are sealed all the way up to the mask. And the pro mask, you got to clear it. You got to drink your water through it. And it always tastes like shit when you drink through that thing. You're wearing special covers for your boots. You are covered from head to toe so that nothing toxic can get into you unless it's a corrosive. And then you're fucked because it'll melt the plastic right to your face. And that's what I told the guys. So like, will this protect us? I'm like going, it'll protect you against anything except for corrosives. And it'll just, you're fucked no matter what. It's going to be a horrible death. Just accept it. It's going to happen. And this one dude, little tiny guy, I fucking hated this guy. He was big mouth, always running his mouth. And he fucking giving me shit that I wasn't taking charge. And I just finally turned and we hadn't gotten an all clear yet. And I just bitch slapped him. I didn't hit his face. I hit his mask. And I knocked his mask all the way off his face to where his face is exposed. And then I turned to my next in charge, my assistant squad leader. I said, if he doesn't die, we have an all clear. And I walked away. And that's the closest I ever came to losing my cool with somebody. I am always calm. And military teaches you that. Discipline is essential, especially in combat. You cannot lose your shit. And he verbally lost his shit on that guy. And I just consider that bad discipline. I expect better of a Marine. It played out in slow-mo in your head. It was funny, man. Everybody was laughing. He reported me for doing it. Nothing came of it. My senior NCO or my commanding officer, my CO or XO, none of them talked to me. There was no discipline. They apparently spoke to some of the other people in my squad. They all said, that didn't happen. They just lied for me. It didn't happen. But it's in that one, I was teaching him something. I was trying to teach him something. Shut your fucking mouth. Don't always run your mouth. Don't start shit. Everybody is suffering along with you. We're all miserable. You're not the only one. And that's the problem I have with people is when they start acting like they're the only one going through something. Disney Plus echo delays and rewrites amid Ezra Miller W Skinwalker.
It's spam.
Is it? Is
Yeah.
that fake?
Yep.
Oh, his
Apparently.
name is Falker, not a real person.
No, it's one of those bot accounts.
Bots. Oh, is it? Well, as long as they're not hurting us, I'm fine with it.
Looks like a bot.
Because if there's more
They're all over
viewers.
YouTube.
Yeah, that's why we're getting. Oh,
that
see?
that gives me
John's
the
full of
chance. What?
It's a
Oh.
person. It's a person.
Oh, I wanted to
Well,
use the video.
It
Welcome to the
Yeah,
show,
but dude-
Amos.
It looks like a bot. That's what
It
what
does.
bots post.
Yeah.
So what is
Yeah.
going on? So Echo delays and rewrites amid Ezra Miller skinwalking controversy. I don't know anything about the skinwalking controversy. What is this? Someone tell me what that is.
I have no
Whoa!
idea.
Nobody knows? Okay, well, I'll fucking look it up. Jeez. You guys are so ill-informed. Ezra Miller skinwalking 18-year-old who ran away with that was back in 2022. So is that what that's about?
Hey, the
There's
bot's
nothing new.
video is not here anymore. Oh,
What?
Did we delete that? Oh man.
What, Martin?
the bot's video is not here anymore.
Yeah, we don't need it. I had to remove it for
Yeah.
adding new stuff. The red hand paint smeared on the face. Gotcha. Shinatsky, you want to fight? I love it. The old days when they would fight like this. And you know what? That is actually a very effective way of holding your fists. I watched a film about the old style of boxing and how it worked. And it was like, holy crap, that's a very effective way of fighting. It looks stupid, but it's effective. So I've never seen Amos Falker before. It's good to see you, man.
I haven't.
I'm glad you're not a bot.
Yeah.
The red
Sorry
hand-
about that. Like I said, that
walking. That's interesting. Oh, don't
It
worry
looks
about
like
it, John.
it looks like a way bots post.
The red handprint is skinwalking. I did not know that. I'm going to have to go do a deep dive on that shit. I was unaware of that. I still think he's going to have another episode. I personal experience with mental illness, with my family, my ex-wife, Tracy, Zoe's mom. It's going to come back. They cycle. My sister, she cycles. She has schizophrenia. She'll be fine. And then all of a sudden one day she's just talking in nonsensical rhymes. It's horrifying because you think that maybe they're dying or something's wrong, I thought she was having a stroke or something the first time I saw her do it. I remember my brother Mike, the first time he saw it, it made him cry.
Yeah, sometimes you shoot the innocent.
What's that in reference to?
What the quick draw? Well, about me jumping on it being a bot.
Oh, hey, fog of war, man. People don't even know what that means. It's like I was just talking with a bunch of my vets, man. In fact, I just wrote this line into one of my edits for Vindicated because we're getting ready to launch that soon. And I wrote the line in it because, like, the original script writer, I'm still giving him credit, but I wrote these stories, and it irritated me when they started making changes to my story. Well, don't do that. That's why I fired them. They were all fired. I'm like, don't bring in new characters. I already have enough characters. What are you doing? Changing things. Don't do that. Follow my story. My story is solid. And so it led to me firing him. But I went in there and I read the dialogue that one of the writers wrote. And I'm like, this is terrible dialogue. Terrible. So I went and I rewrote all of it last night before I went to bed. And one of the lines in there is like, he says, man, the way he wrote, we all been done stuff. And I'm like, Don't do that. I went to the Steve McQueen School of how to deliver dialogue. When he did the movie Bullet, he had an entire page of dialogue when he goes up against the business suit detective that's in charge, and the guy says his lines. You know, it's, what's his name from Man from U.N.C.L.E., and he's delivers his lines, and then Steve McQueen takes that entire page of dialogue and shrinks it down to one line. He says, "You police your side of the street your way, I'll police mine," and walks away from him. Entire page summed up in that one single line. And you need to find a realistic way of that people talk. And when they realize what John's saying in this scene about that he's done things that has, despite the intentions of what he was trying to do, bad things occurred.
Yeah.
And he carries guilt with him for these things. He is haunted by one of those, one single death, that he was trying to help somebody, and inevitably, because of his actions of trying to save him, he ended up killing that person accidentally. And it's a child, by the way. And it's something that haunts him throughout the story, throughout his life. After it happens, it'll never go away. And this little kid talks to him all the time. It's like a version of his subconscious. And so when the guys are wanting to know what happened between him and this other character, and he starts hemming and hawing and saying that, and Bill, the character that's based on my grandfather, who has the shakes real bad like my grandpa did, says, "Hey man, fog of war, we've all been there. We got your back." I took that entire long dialogue that he had written. It just was stupid. It just did. It sounded unreal, and I changed it to that simple line. You liked it, right? Hey man, it's the fog of war. We've all been there. We got your back. I also took out. He constantly throws in the word brother. And I'm like, stop doing that. And he likes to emphasize too often with John. And John, despite being me up here, he's not me, but he has my way of thinking. Drops too many F-bombs in the script unnecessarily. I can talk for long periods of time without dropping an F-bomb.
Yeah.
And he was doing it like at every turn. I'm like, don't do that. So I went back and I just did a full edit of the script. I also changed something that was in the script because Jim Woodward is our technical advisor on how counterintelligence and intelligence works in it, you know, because he was Army intel, technically Army counterintel. He was a spy. And he didn't like what Phil threw in there. And I was kind of okay with it. But now that I went back, I'm like, no, I got to take that out. I don't like that. So what he ends up doing, Rollins' character ends up doing in this one backstory is he's torturing the target's kid. And I have him doing that. I have no trouble with that because Rollins is not a member of the CIA. He is an contractor with the CIA. And he's been cleared by the CIA and the TOC for what's called a field interrogation. If you don't know what that is, they're not cool. Field interrogations are not supervised. They're unsupervised. You're out in the field and you can do pretty much anything you fucking want to that person you're interrogating. And what he does in here is he, instead of torturing the target that he wants the info from because they captured his family with him, they begin torturing the son right in front of him. And it's a rough scene. And John bursts in, kicks the door in because he knows what they're doing. And he's pissed that his commanding officer allowed this. And it leads to a big confrontation later. He gets disciplined by the Army, loses rank for it. But he goes in there and fights Rollins. But it establishes right then and there that Rollins is a really bad fucking guy and he's very fucking dangerous. On top of that, John can't beat him. John just can't beat him in a fight. He's a better fighter. And he kicks John's ass. But in the process, when he goes to shoot Rollins, he misses, hits a concrete ceiling, and it ricochets and kills the kid. Hit him right in the chest. And the worst part is because it's a ricochet, that means the round is even flatter when it hits him. It goes in flat, doing even more soft tissue damage. So just kid didn't even have a chance. Went in there to save the kid, and he ends up killing him. I don't mind giving that away because it's not a plot for the story. It's not important. It's just something to help you understand who John is and why he's torn and tortured. Because nothing better to me than a hero who's tortured by his past and some of his decisions, because that's the sign of a good man. Now, like you look at Will Penny in Unforgiven. He's a good man. He's just done some bad things. I've killed women, children, anything that walks. I'm about to kill you, little Bill. What you did to my friend. I don't know. If you guys even see it, you guys aren't reacting to anything.
I'm smiling.
No, I mean, I'm just not hearing any response. Like,
Oh.
I have no idea what you're
hoping.
talking about. So
I'm basking.
Well, I don't expect it, but I expect it from Martin and John to respond because you guys, I'm sure, love that fucking movie, right?
Yeah,
Oh
dude,
yes, I love it. But I'm basking in the whole thing of being haunted by your previous decisions.
My late friend George Arntz was a Vietnam veteran, and he had a rough life after Vietnam because he had to do one thing that broke him as a person, was that he was in a security position, and the Viet Cong had sent in a small child with explosives strapped to him. And he was running towards him, and he had to drop his 5-year-old kid.
That's the same. That's why my dad was an alcoholic, because the same thing happened to my dad, who was a combat engineer, and some kid was running across the bridge with a big package strapped across his chest, and he had to drop him, and it was full of explosives.
You got to do it, because you're not just thinking about yourself, you're thinking about the guys around you. You got to protect
and
everybody.
the kid is dead anyway. There's no way of saving that.
Yeah, the kid was going to be dead no matter what. So it tormented him.
Still screwed him up.
And I knew that George and I were close friends the day that he talked to me about that. And it broke my heart hearing him talk about it, because when his son was born, David, I'm friends with David on my other Facebook account, my other personal one. And David, he didn't know if he wanted to have a kid, because he didn't know if he was capable of loving a child after what he did. And but he learned. He says, I learned I could love again. I'm like, there you go, man. There you go. Yeah, if we go a few minutes, I don't want to go too long, because 2 hours is, in my opinion, it's long enough to do. But if we go a few minutes, like on Saturday, Tom and I were on a roll Saturday.
Yeah.
That we're talking about RoboCop, because that's his fucking movie right there. RoboCop.
You were
I'm
over for almost
before
an hour.
that.
And it's one of my favorites too. What's that?
And before that, Thursday, I think we got close to 3 hours.
Oh yeah, when I dropped in on the show with Keith. I miss Keith
Well,
so much.
with Keith, that is normal. Keith can go on for 5
Well,
hours.
Keith and
it
I,
won't be boring.
that's our conversations, is a 4 to 5 hour conversation. He'll call me. I've gotten so mad at him. I'm like going, dude, this was an entire fucking show.
Yeah, Keith is always doing
we
shows
didn't record anything.
without doing the show.
Hey, by the way, great news from the Comics Relief Crusader.
Yeah, he's 16 hours from monetization.
That's awesome.
Good job.
I love Mike, but he's a little slow.
Oh,
He knows what I'm talking about. I poked fun of him last night. I was making a point. What the fuck was that about? I made a point with a post about something, and it was like he misunderstood what I was saying in my post. And I'm like, that's not the point of what I said at all. Everybody else got it, but you. Hey, he says. Ya hoser. Saturday was a fun time, very humbling to learn from you all. And there's still so much. We talked about it after the show, because we stuck around for a little bit longer, even after we ended the show.
Yeah,
There's so much we still didn't go over.
man, I had to
RoboCop's
run.
one of those films, man. You do a deep dive on that. Whoo! You better be prepared for a long show.
It's a great movie.
I'm just glad Friday didn't go over.
What's that?
I'm just glad Friday didn't go over.
Oh, I wanted to tell you guys, it's so fucking funny. When I went to bed, it was about midnight, and I'm going to bed. No, it's 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock when I went into the room. 1 o'clock, I go into the room and I look on my phone and I see it's at $2,999. And I'm like, God damn it. We couldn't finish the day and go over 3,000. And so I went and I looked at my bank account and I had exactly $1.35 in my account. So I'm like, I'm going to push him over the 3,000. It's driving me crazy because I'm OCD. I'm like, I got to push it over that 2,999. Come on, man. I can't leave it at that. So I go up there because you can usually go up to Indiegogo and just give a free amount, whatever amount that is, and not be part of the plans, the tiers. He put a lock on. He couldn't put anything less than $10. He laughed when I told him. He was laughing. I said, I was so butthurt on that. Like, whoa, I have to go to bed with fucking 2,999. And if you don't understand OCD, that's annoying to people with OCD. You got to round up. I round up all the time. I have to mentally. I round up. That was a fun green room chat. It was. I agree. Tom and I are really good buds. I love talking movie stuff with him. Him and Keith, man. I don't get to hang out with Andre too much. I mean, we talk, but he's way too busy with the shit that he's doing. But I love it when he does pop in. He popped in for our Conan episode.
Andre is also in a different time zone, right?
Yeah, he's in your time zone.
Yeah.
And he's also said that when we do our next Blade Runner one, he'll be glad to join us. I was thinking about doing one this month, but I don't know. We'll see.
Let
It
me know
won't be one of our regular shows. It'll be a special show I'll do in the evening.
and let me know which version do you want the slideshow based on.
Final cut, for God's sake. Although the last time I said I wanted to do the theatrical cut, but Andre sent me, by the way, a copy of the full. I mean, it's like 30 gigs. It's a huge copy.
Yeah, I know you.
All layered sound. Each thing has its own layer, so I can go in there and I can tweak the narration. And I want to do my own cut of Blade Runner that has the director's cut with the 1982 narration and with the narration fixed at the end, because I loathe the scene when he's sitting there and he just watched Roy Batty die and then he starts talking right after it. And it's like, no, either cut it out entirely or deliver it a few beats later. You needed a few more beats of him sitting there staring at Batty before the narration starts.
You just said no, like like Dr. Evil. No.
No.
Blade Runner, the last cut. We swear until the next one. That's true. I'm really looking forward to seeing the Dragon cut. I've only seen the first half. I've not seen the second half. And I'm curious what he does. I think he's going to add in Sebastian's death in the elevator scene, because Batty gets confused with the voice. He thinks it's Mother. He's very confused, which is another tie into Alien. Mother. Oh, of course, deleted. I'll let you know. It'll be this month if I do it. If I can do it. And like I said, it won't be one of our regular shows. It'll be a special show that we do on an evening. Might be Friday or not Friday. It might be Saturday or Thursday. So, you guys got anything else to add about the movie?
No, it's a really good film. I'm not saying it's one of Sean Connery's best, but it's up there.
I would put it up there in the top 10.
Yeah.
But definitely not the best. I got to be honest with you. You guys won't think so. I love the film The Molly Maguires. It's a film he did with Richard Harris. That is probably not my number one, but maybe my number two favorite Sean Connery film. And it's not very well known, The Molly Maguires.
Well,
And if you don't know what the Molly Maguires are, it's a historical group, gang.
Yeah.
Came over from Ireland and very violent, ultra violent. It was like the beginning, really. The Molly Maguires were kind of the beginning of the Irish mob. I dislike it when people go the Irish mafia. I said, first of all, mafia is an Italian word. Don't use that. Mob, Irish mob. And I was just explaining something about a scene for one of the best films about the Irish mob with Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, Mark Wahlberg.
The Departed.
Yeah, The Departed. It's a very good film. And of course, it's based on the Chinese film Internal Affairs.
Yeah.
Or is it Infernal Affairs?
Infernal.
It is Infernal. Okay.
It's
Infernal Affairs. And I mean, it's an American readaptation of the film, but they actually based Whitey Bulger, the character of Whitey Bulger, is the Jack Nicholson character. But there's some great moments in that. Before I go, I love that scene where Matt Damon was describing the way Jack Nicholson's brain works about killing that couple on the beach. You know, it's like he's just going to shoot him and just sort of stand there and then he like says, that would be a great scene, but what if I? And so if you watch that scene, it's insane and it's funny and dark, but all of that stuff was brought in by Nicholson because all he was supposed to do is kill him. But then like the funniest part was at the end where he points out she felt funny. That was Nicholson ad-libbing. She felt funny. That's weird. And then he says something to the effect of, now I feel bad because I could have banged her again. She was beautiful. Like the creepy way sociopaths think, man. If you've never seen that, go watch that. It's on YouTube. Matt Damon describing Jack Nicholson in the scene on the beach in the movie The Departed. Infernal and the American version completely misses the point of the original. What was the original? Wait, what? What was the original?
Yeah, I didn't know the original. I just know Infernal.
I've known Infernal Affairs. I saw it, and then I saw the American version. But it's just a typical, Martin Scorsese gangster kind of film. And the whole thing at the end with that one is, the rat lives, is what he's trying to say. So who was the rat? Who's the real rat? Some are trying to say that it was Mark Wahlberg, but no, Mark Wahlberg's character was very specific on who he was. And he killed him because they killed the man he loved and respected. Had nothing to do with Matt Damon's character or DiCaprio's character, his killing of Matt Damon at the end of that film. It was all about his boss getting murdered. I forget who played his boss offhand.
Yeah, I know there's 3 Infernal Affairs movies. But yeah, they did 3.
They did 3? I didn't know that. Yeah. I've only seen the original. Seen the original. So what was the point, Shinatsky?
There's a TV series.
What is the point? I want to know what the point is. Join us in here if it's going to take you a bit to explain, because I want to know before we end the show. What is the point that they missed? I mean, the American missed the point that the guy kills off his past and becomes an officer at the end and feels bad about it because an innocent man had to die. Oh, that part. Yeah, because it was a fight between them at first, but when he's killed, he didn't kill him. Another person kills him, and he feels guilt over it. And that is left out. I agree. Because in Scorsese's version, he's not a good person. Matt Damon's character, he's a horrible person. And this is the one what's her name from the horror series, the husband and wife and deal with possessions, shit like that. Paranormal
The
Investigators.
Conjuring. The Conjuring.
Farmiga,
Yeah.
whatever her first name is. Her last name is
Vera
Farmiga.
Farmiga.
That was an early film for her, and it's been suggested in some breakdowns that she's the rat. She was the rat all along. And I thought that's interesting because it's made me go back and watch the film again. I'm like, yeah, there is a chance that she's the one.
Yeah.
That is all an act with her. Let's see, Vera Farmiga. And I think it's funny that her little sister plays her younger in the films.
And she has played as her daughter too.
Even though they're not, they're sisters.
Yes.
Apparently her parents spread their age like I did with my kids. All my kids are like 9 years apart in age.
No, my sister and I are 10 years apart, and then I'm 5.5 from my brother.
And I'm not close with my older siblings. I'd like to be, but I'm not, because they left home early. I was closest specifically with my brother Michael and my sister Michelle. We were very close. But anyway, Anima, you got anything else you want to add to the ending of the film or about the film?
Oh, I think she's busy with the cats. Now, what
She's
like
beating
to
the
add...
cats, smashing them against the
Oh,
wall.
no, don't say that. Well, what I would like to add is not that much about the movie, but about John Milius. And man, his dialogues and monologues are gorgeous.
Yep. There's only one other writer that I put as somebody who I consider to be a real contemporary of his. And hold on. It's really funny because he also worked on Apocalypse Now, and that's Michael Herr. Michael Herr writes narration better than anybody I've ever seen. The only thing I liked about the movie The Rainmaker was the narration. Matt Damon's basically doing an impression of Matthew McConaughey. Go back and watch that and tell me he's not doing McConaughey. He clearly is doing him. And he admitted to it later that he just talking like Matthew McConaughey because they're friends.
Yeah.
But the narration in that film is what makes that film so fucking good. All written by Michael Herr. And Michael Herr worked on some of... What?
What's the name of the movie again?
The Rainmaker. Matt Damon, Danny DeVito. Very good film. And lawyers fighting a big insurance company for defrauding a young man dying of a disease and not allowing him to get the treatment he needed. They kept denying him. It's a good film. It's a good film. Finally, the kid's dying. He's literally going to die. And they record his deposition. And that scene's so intense. But the narration, just fucking amazing. Written by Michael Herr. Michael Herr wrote some of the narration for Apocalypse Now. Not people don't know that he was brought in, consulted with, and brought in to work on it. Because Coppola kept changing the script, so they had to bring in make changes to certain stuff. It's an interesting film. I wouldn't say it's a great film, but it has some great fucking narration in it. I'm telling you, that is like something from the 1940s narration, back when they really knew how to write the narrative process in a script for somebody telling the story as you're seeing it happen. Like with, what is that movie? William Holden, when he's dead in the pool. Sunset Strip? Is it Sunset Strip?
Yeah.
It was. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that film. Great narration. And that the fact that this is a dead guy telling us a story, that's fucking wild. I love that movie. I really do. So, but anyway, we are at the end of the show. I think we've gotten all the information we need. Anybody say anything? I like the idea of a criminal faking being a police officer for so long that he's... No, in fact, in The Darker, you've heard me reference it in our private chat about the graphic novels. In The Darker, The priest has a secret. I'll tell you in private. I won't tell you here because I want people to buy that graphic.
Sunset Boulevard. Yeah. Thanks.
Sunset Boulevard. Not
Yeah.
Sunset Strip, Sunset Boulevard. I love that fucking movie. One, the way it was shot is so beautiful. They could have shot that in color. They went for the noir feel, that black and white. Oh, I love that movie.
Sometimes a movie needs to be black and white to work.
Yes. What would have been the result if they got their wish and George Lucas directed Apocalypse Now? I don't think it would have been very good. I really don't. I don't think it would have been as good. There's something about Francis Ford Coppola's madness that lent to the quality of that film. Damn near killed him. Damn near killed Martin Sheen. He had a fucking heart attack on the set. But yeah, it's good stuff, man. Thanks for another great episode, Martin. Friends, take care. You too, John. Good seeing you, my friend. Don't forget, new episode tonight of Dark Matters with Don Ecker. Got to have some fun with Don tonight. I'm looking forward to talking to him. I need to call him after the show because I haven't gotten to talk to him much this week. It's been a crazy week. Crazy busy. And it's going to get even crazier because we're going to be launching these campaigns for these different books one by one. And I'm going to get these books done. I want to get them done before I die. And it's probably going to take 20 years to get the books done.
I'm fine with that. You're not allowed to die for the next 20 years.
Oh, me dying? Yeah, I know you're fine with it.
Asshole. You're not allowed to.
Admiral Teague, all the soldiers would have missed their targets. Oh, yeah, I know, right?
Personally, I'm planning on another 40. So,
well, I got to tell you, again, the interesting thing about Apocalypse Now is the fact that he tried to replicate tracers by using bottle rockets. Very clever.
yeah.
It was very clever what he did. Now that we're in a digital age, we can get tracers. My problem is a lot of people like the movie Fury. I have problems with two things in the film. How they did the tracers. There weren't multicolors like they show in the film. Like, what are they doing? I don't understand it. They're trying to show Germans are a different color from Americans. It's the same fucking material that's making it glow.
Yeah.
The other thing that pissed me off is a tank commander. If you had somebody on your crew threaten to rape a woman, you would have shot him right then and there. He wouldn't have hesitated. He would have shot him, executed him before it happened. And that bugged me, that he was challenging his command and threatening to do harm to another person in front of their commander. And because I know tank commanders, and I'm telling you, especially World War II ones, wouldn't put up with that fucking shit. So any day that I live longer than my dad, I will consider that borrowed time. My hope is my dad outlived all the men in our family, and I'm hoping to outlive my dad. And he made it to 75. I don't want to live past 80. I got to be honest. 80, that's it. I want to tag out at 80. I want to go. I just want to go because I know I'm going to be hurting.
My goal is to make 93 and see Halley's Comet again.
What year is that?
That's a good reason.
It's when I'm 93, so it's 40 years from now.
Yeah, I'm not going to make it. Fuck that. I love the fact, by the way, a little bit of trivia history. Samuel Clemens was born on Halley's Comet and died on Halley's Comet. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's cool, but that's crazy. Your dad was 71. I think 71 is too early. I think 80 is a good time to kick off. And especially if I've already got arthritis. I'm not looking forward to arthritis at 80. Yeah. Unless they find a way of like lasering it out of our bodies by that point in the future. I have no interest in going through that. I think this scene would work better if we have Kurt suffering from asthma. Marlon Brando breathe heavily, faster, more intense. He was fat. He'd gotten so fat, he was like sluggish and breathing heavily. Yeah, Francis Coppola was pissed at him. for that. He felt so betrayed by Marlon Brando. People don't understand, as big a dick as Val Kilmer can be, you put two fucking assholes in the same movie, Val Kilmer and Marlon Brando, and that movie was in trouble from day one. You know what movie I'm talking about, right, guys?
Yeah.
For Anima, The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Yep.
Okay.
You have to watch the Critical Drinkers
I did.
production hell of that.
But all right, guys, we are out of here. Let's get the hell out. Let's finish this. I got other stuff I need to do today. So see you guys. I'll see you guys on Friday. If you guys drop in on us, we're not on YouTube with Dark Matters. We're only on Facebook, Rumble, and on their app, the KGRA app. And they gave up on YouTube because they kept claiming every single commercial. Like, we have the right to this stuff. We're not going to fight you guys on this. This is stupid. So thank God for Rumble. So anyway, have a great day, guys. See you tonight for anybody that does show up.